Thanks for joining my weekly show where I teach you the power you have to heal your life and create the life experience you desire and are really hungry for. You're ready for it. You can subscribe to my channel so you know when I'm putting out new stuff every week. I go live every Wednesday and hit the bell to get notified. Today we're talking about the power of the mind, affirmations. Now, I had to train myself how to have an affirmative mind. We all know that our thoughts create our reality. When that hit me in the early 90s, it was sort of, it was, I remember the day this hit me. I was praying and I just said, God, when am I going to stop feeling so powerless and like a victim in life? And as clear as day, the answer I was told right there in that moment was, when you stop believing you're a victim, when you stop believing it. It was like, Carol, wake up. You have a belief that you're powerless, and that creates the state of being a victim. And I knew I had to change my mind. I had a lot of emotional stuff I had to heal along the way, but I realized through the years that this thinking mind was a tool. Probably my greatest aha was when I spent 21 days in southern India in a silent retreat. Yes, I did not speak for 21 days. I was in a campus of about 200 people where we had daily meditations and lectures, and we were around people, but most other people did talk off and on. There were a handful of us that really committed. We decided to really go big with this kind of this vow of silence, and I didn't talk. And I learned so much about my mind, the thinking mind. It was me and the thinking mind. It was like, bah! And I teach you more about that journey and experience in my book, Mastering Affluence. In fact, I've dedicated the entire first section, How to Create an Affluent Mind. And in this, I teach you how to train your mind. Your mind's no different than a dog. You need to train it. You just can't assume it's going to do what you want it to do. It's going to do what it does out of habit. So how to create mental affluence. That's in section 2. And I go through step by step on how to create an affirmative mind, meaning your mind responds to life in the affirmative rather than the negative. I'm going to give you a 3-step process today that teaches you how to do this every moment of your life, because that's how mind training is. It's best to do it in the reality of life playing out. And this 3-step process will give you an easy approach to doing that, where you're going along, living your life, and you go, okay, I'm going to apply the 3 steps right now. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to apply the 3 steps right now. Years ago, my husband and I were in a situation where we had massive credit card debt. We had no income, and we were just creating more and more debt every day. It was horrible. It just, grabbed you by the throat, and it's like it kept you from ever experiencing any sense of balance and happiness. And one of my lessons was that I learned to be happy in spite of my financial situation. But it was the place I started to train my mind when it came to money, and to use affirmations to change my experience with money in my day-to-day practice with money. So I've given you my top 10 affirmations. So you're going to be able to refer to those. Those are in the other video that came out a few weeks ago. So those are right there to put in your pocket and say, I can grab and look at those anytime, because you're going to want to have a handful of affirmations to refer to rather than always being able to pull them out of your thoughts yourself. So make sure you've got that video and you've written down those 10 affirmations. So you've got your toolkit, your affirmation toolkit. That's going to be really handy with this. Now, before we get into this 3-step process, which is very, very simple, it's not difficult to do. The only challenge in this is it requires a commitment. But hey, I figured I'm always thinking, why not be more proactive with my thoughts? And you know what? It either stays the same or it gets better. And if it gets worse, I'm already there and I already know what that experience is like. So it's not like I have to prevent anything from happening. I just knew when I was in that really dire financial state that the chances are it's going to get better if I practice this. And what's going to happen in a year, 5 years, 10 years, and I'm now 20 years into this, and I have created massive wealth. I never worry about money. Money is there for me, and it flows and accumulates, and I want that for you. So to help you with that, I've created a once a year offering that's open right now. In fact, it's about to close. I've already had thousands of people register for it, and I want you to join us. It's called the Money Cure. It's a 30-day immersion experience where for 30 days I take you through an online process with all the resources ready at your disposal to practice every week. There's different clearings for you to do, visualizations, there's affirmation audios. It's easily laid out, all lined up for you. All you got to do is show up every day and do something that takes very little time. And for 30 days, you're going to flip your energy. So it's now aligned with the new energy of money, with affluence with money, and money is easy. Go sign up at the caroltuttle.com. What's my URL? Moneycure. caroltuttle.com/moneycure. See, we're right here doing this with you. It's limited to once a year because I am very closely connected to this in a private Facebook group. I do weekly live coaching calls, and it will change your experience of money. Thousands of people have already taken the Money Cure and have success story after success story to show for it. All right, this 3-step technique. All right, first step. Ask your angels to help you notice your lack thinking when it comes to money. Ask God, ask a power outside of you. Hey, make me super, super, super aware of my habit of thinking in lack and fear when it comes to money. And start to note what your familiar thoughts are. Do you think the thought I can't afford it a lot? Do you worry about running out a lot? What's your theme? Notice the theme you run when it comes to your lack and fear. So pay attention because I doubt there's a wide variety there. It's probably pretty similar day after day, you know, your Groundhog Day experience with I'm thinking this again, I'm feeling this again, here it is again, because your system goes there easily. Your thoughts and emotions go there easily. So you're noticing it. Oh, there I am. I'm doing it again. Okay, good to know. Step 2. Well, now think of what you want instead. And I did this over and over and over and over. What do I want instead? Do I want to run out of money? Do I want to be able to not afford that? Do I want my husband to be unemployed or me not to have the job I want? I'm stuck. Do I want things to never change with money? No, you don't want any of that. What do you want instead? I want to be able to afford it. I want to be comfortable and feel secure with my money flow and that I always know it's there. I want to appreciate money and feel good about it and feel that it's a simple experience in my life. What do you want instead? Even write it out. What I don't want is, whatever's going on, what I want instead is. Okay, now you've got the gem of your affirmation. Now, you can take those 10 that I've already given you a few weeks ago and just pull one of those, or just turn that into an affirmation. Okay, just boom, right there. It's an affirmation. So let's just give you a few examples. The situation is, I can't buy that. I don't have the money. I'm grateful the money's showing up so I can have that. What I want instead is I want to be able to buy that if it's correct for me to do. I don't want money to be the deciding factor. I'm grateful I have the money at my disposal to choose to buy that if it's correct for me. There, see that step? Notice what you don't want. What do you want instead? Turn it into an affirmation. I've spent too much money, okay? You had expenses or you were shopping and now you're like processing this, I spent too much. Okay, now you know what you don't want. You don't want to feel that over and over, that there's not enough and now you've overspent, you're going to run out. What you want is that money is an ample supply. You spend wisely and you're making correct choices with your money. So now you fill that in with I am responsible with my money and I know I can afford what's correct for me. I'm comfortable with my spending. See what I'm doing here? Let me do one more with you where we wrap this up. You tell your kids, we can't afford that. So what you're really trying to do is prevent them from kind of nagging you, probably more than anything. But rather than say that, say, well, I don't want to teach my kids to be have poverty consciousness and that money's hard to come by. I want them to have a comfortable experience with money. And so you think, what I want instead is to teach my children how money can be a blessing and support in their life, and it comes to them easily. So then you say, I'm grateful that that's something you want. We're choosing not to buy that right now. I'm great. You can even speak that. I'm grateful that's something they want. Wanting's a good thing. It really supports us in going after more in life. But we're choosing not to buy that right now. You're just dealing with the situation. It has nothing to do with whether you have enough or not enough. It's just, we're just making a choice. So my 3-step process, if you employ that in your day-to-day practice, you're going to see a shift with money, and you're teaching your mind how to use affirmations in the moment. With your choice of making affirmations your common go-to, you will create massive wealth over the years. I guarantee that, because your thoughts create your reality, and what you believe becomes your experience and your whole being. So the 3 steps again are: notice what you don't want. What do you want instead? What's the affirmation from the what I want instead? And you're just training your mind now. And eventually you'll get to the place where you don't have to do steps 1 and 2. You just meet the world with step 3 in your mind. That's an affirmative mind. I have that ability now. I think of what I want. I go there immediately. I have trained my mind to be an affirmative mind and a useful tool for me. And it's really a blessing. So just like you have to, you don't assume your mind's going to do this. You have to train it. Train your mind to be a useful tool for you. Join me with the Money Cure. You have a limited time to sign up. Go to the CarolTuttle.com/moneycure. And let me help you make even bigger changes when it comes to your experience with money, and turn on the power you have to create money to be a really valuable tool and resource in your life that comes to you easily. I've already helped thousands of people, and it's your turn to make this change. Thanks for subscribing, and leave a comment. How did this help you today? Have you experienced the power to do this in your own mind? How has it helped you make changes by changing your thoughts? Thanks for liking the video and sharing it with someone who could use this help.